fire.
Welcome to Cannonballs, a comedy podcast where we review, react, and recap popular movie and TV franchises. I'm Brian Carey, and I'm joined by my co-host, Aaron Laramie.
Loki, right, is the show we're watching?
Matt Martirosian.
I'm Brian Love.
And Wesley, maybe I had a jet ski, Isaac.
Beep boop, beep boop. What's up, guys?
This week we're talking Loki episode 4. I got timestamps in the description if you want to skip ahead to our initial thoughts, plot recap, Easter eggs, theories. For now, how are you guys doing this week?
So when you buy timestamps, do you go to the post office?
That's right. They're a little expensive than the regular stamps, but that's how you send across multiple dimensions.
Brian's onto something. I like to think that there's a world where there's another universe out there where Brian's an alligator.
Alligator Brian?
Glasses.
Alligator Brian. Yeah.
He's blind.
Does he send letters using timestamps to himself? Is that how you would do it? You would send you would timestamp your letter and then send it to yourself, or could you send it to anybody else in any time ever?
You can send to anyone.
For all time, always.
For all time, always.
Guys, I'm incredibly sober. This is such a weird experience for me. I'm very off my game right now.
Is that your new idea for the podcast?
Can we check the note?
That's his new idea, is remembering the podcast.
No, it sucks.
All right, well, before I move on to news, is there any, ideas or you guys want to talk about?
Yeah, I want to do a different podcast.
Okay. Like different people and subjects, or
I'm interested.
No, just different subject, but it's us. I want to do a sports predicting podcast that's a half hour long.
Okay.
Sports predicting, like predicting what sports are going to be like in the future. Like it's sort of
yes,
what is sports
exactly
podcast, like
I want to be like, we just go every
theory.
week, we do a half hour year by year. Yeah, year by year we just predict what sports are going to be like.
It is our 50th episode. Our special could be every 50 episodes we tell you what sports are going to be like in the next year.
All right, well, it's kind of like my idea, but a little bit different. Kind of like a fusion of the one where they do all the little things and they freeze Woody Harrelson. What's his name? The show
Moneyball.
Oh, not Woody Harrelson, Woody Page.
Yep,
do Around
like
the
that
Horn.
one.
Around the Horn.
Like a combination of Around the Horn,
Wait.
like Around the Horn meets PTI meets Carcass Boys.
You're talking about Venom, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I'm following that.
So we're like, in this upcoming week we got the Tigers playing the Cleveland Friendships. Marty, what do you think? Who's gonna win this game, Marty? And Marty's like,
what's the over under, Marty?
They got a lot of friends on that team. I'm picking them to win 17-2. And I'm like, we'll check back in next week to see if Marty was right about the Cleveland Friendships. And then I'm like, next week comes, I'm like, there's no such team. Marty's an idiot. And that's the show.
How's that like Around the Horn, though?
At some point, we just freeze Marty in place.
Someone's just counting points for shit that we say.
Because there's 4 of us.
It is the Who's line of sports shows, I'd say.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna flesh it out. I'll send you something. I'll flesh it out. We'll see if it has any traction.
Okay.
But I was in the shower, and I was like, it'd be fun if we did like a little sports thing, and we could talk about. So I don't have to talk about sports during the actual podcast.
You're finishing in shower.
Finishing in the shower? That's the only place I finish, Aaron.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm implying.
I just like to lay in it, right in my underwear.
The shower? Or do you jerk off into your underwear and then just sit and hang out in it post-coital? Yeah, okay.
And then I hop in the shower in my underwear.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Again,
you gotta
Brian's a
clean it.
never nude. I know we don't talk about that often on the podcast, but Brian wears a very tight pair of jean shorts under all of his clothes.
They're pretty stiff too.
Brian's the David Cross of friendships.
Brian doesn't believe in starch.
Right, guys? Right, guys? That's
He also once tried to be a member of the Blue Man Group.
He did. I remember
Sure
that
did.
phase.
Yeah.
We were at Penn State and Brian's walking around in blue face.
Cross phase?
What?
Could you imagine having a David Cross phase?
Brian did do his hair for a couple years like David Cross in Scary Movie 2.
I gotta look
Do you
up who
guys
this
remember?
David Cross is.
You know, it's Tobias.
Yeah,
He's Tobias.
Yeah, Tobias Harris. He's played by David Cross on the court. And his brother, Chris.
I did my
Chris
hair
Cross.
like
He makes
you should look
Mott's
up
applesauce. Chris Cross applesauce. That's where it comes from. All right, guys, I'm feeling pretty good now. I'm ready.
Are you ready? Let's start recording.
well,
I'm ready to
Brian,
start
you
the
have to
show.
look up. You have to look up David Cross's hair in Scary Movie 2. I
Okay,
think that's
all
the
right.
one.
that's my least.
I don't know if you
watched
can
Scary
share
movie.
it. Is it? Oh, okay.
I could share it in our old Star Wars themed sharing screen.
Oh, okay.
Here's a good one.
It's fine.
All right, let's see.
I know, yeah. Brian specifically had a David Cross phase where he went through a while where he was doing his hair like David Cross. Have you ever seen he's completely bald, so he combs it over from one side. He combs it completely over the top.
Yeah,
No,
Marty,
you're just talking about going.
I got hair plugs. All this is from my asshole.
Brian had a really hairy asshole in high school.
Not anymore.
I would not be
It's
surprised.
completely clean now, but holy shit.
So, did you guys?
So would that be worth it to you guys? Let's say you'd never have a hairy asshole again, but all that hair would Jesus Christ.
Let's don't worry, that joke
I
won't
literally
do
always do that.
it.
Let's start the show. Would that be worth it to you guys? Let's say that you never have a hairy asshole again, but you got to have all that hair like on your head and you know about it. And 3 other
I
people
know
know
that
about
my
it in the
hair-
entire world. But yeah, you know, and 3 other people that you don't, they could be anybody, but they know as well.
And our one
They know
viewer in
specifically
Twitch
I
knows.
have assholes. Oh shit.
Yeah, but your asshole is clean as a whistle.
I mean,
Worth it or no?
so
Worth it.
yeah.
Marty doesn't even have to think about it.
It's hard for me to answer this
Marty's
question
like, I would do it even if my asshole was dirty
because
as
I both
fuck.
have a
still
head of hair
asshole.
and a clean asshole.
A thick head of hair. That's not asshole hair, as far as we know.
So
All right,
status quo, but 3 people then think that I have asshole hair in my head. I'd be fine with that. Yeah, I'd take it. In fact, I think that's an upgrade.
Yeah, but it could be anybody though. Like you could be going for a promotion, and the guy's like, "I'm not hiring you. You got asshole hair," and you're like, "Well, there's one."
Yeah, shit.
But do they share it
There's
with
your
people,
movie.
or is it always
Here's your
3?
movie premise, Wes.
No, it's always 3. If
It's
somebody
like a
else
Sith
tells
rule?
somebody, one of them. Yeah, no. Like if somebody, like if I knew that you had asshole hair and I just told all 3 of you guys, one of us would die.
Rule of threes. Some Final Destination shit. Okay.
I feel like
Just
that would
intrinsically
cause the end
tied.
of the world. Like someone whispers it to someone, and then that person immediately dies, and then their wife or mother's like, "What were their last words?" And it's like, "Brian has asshole hair." They die. And it just keeps happening. It's a domino effect.
You know how Brian
Yeah, all
Carey
right.
has a thick head of hair? Do you know why that is?
Don't say it. Don't say you're gonna kill us
don't
all.
say it. Don't whisper it.
It's like a
All right,
really
well, then
bad A
maybe-
Quiet Place. Just nobody could say that I have asshole
Yeah.
hair.
No one can talk about other people's ass
It's
hair.
down to 4 people.
You know, like, it's like Crocker and Fairly Odd Parents, where he just goes, Fairly Odd Parents, and it's more like, Brian has asshole hair. You can't not
You
say
Everyone
it.
thinks you're
not
crazy
say
for
it.
saying it. They're like, his hair is way too thick. There's no way that's ass hair.
What happens if
Far
one of the
too
people who
thick.
knows dies and tells no one?
Somebody else gets told. Like they
Just-
wake up like
they
from a
become-
very vivid dream. They just know. All right, maybe they don't die. What if instead of they don't die, but instead their asshole hair is replaced by human head hair? So they just have like a huge hairy asshole now.
Just a werewolf asshole.
Yeah, like it's like I shouldn't have spread rumors.
It's like it's a full moon.
Kids movie. It's a kids movie about it's a full moon. Oh shit!
Get
No.
it? That's an ass joke. Come on.
Actually, we should rather
Comedy.
have
I think it's a
asshole
werewolf
hair.
joke. It's not really an ass joke.
When you moon someone, dude, it's a full
Yeah, Wes. It was
yeah.
a double entendre.
I didn't like
Yeah.
it.
No, I
And
think
fuck
that
you, you're
was
still laughing, you
grade A
bitch.
comedy.
Grade A ass meat right there, pal. All right, so what's that show we were watching again?
Well, before we get to Loki,
No.
did you guys hear
Yeah, Wes, what's your idea?
the?
No, I'm just kidding.
All right, so it's a movie about a guy who has a really hairy asshole, and his friends make fun of him, but then they get hairy assholes. Don't spread rumors, kids.
It's actually
My
like a
idea.
don't do drugs PSA. Like, don't spread
Yeah,
rumors.
that's my idea. Don't spread
I
rumors.
like it.
Otherwise, your asshole's hairy.
Start showing
That's
it
no
in
fun.
middle school to kids.
Yeah.
Like, Billy's
that'll
got a
work.
hairy asshole, and you know why? Because he's a fucking tattletale. Don't be like Billy.
Snitches get
Billy had
itches in their
unprotected
asshole.
Premarital sex.
Yeah.
Now he's got a hairy asshole. Just everything that you don't want kids to do. Billy was underage drinking. You know what happened then?
Yeah.
How have we been recording for 30
Everything.
minutes?
That can't be true.
29.
So, well, what
28.
were you trying to introduce, Brian?
Oh, I was trying to segue. You know what? Before we do that, if you like us talking about assholes, you should check us out on TikTok, Instagram. We're live on.
If you've
Twitch
listened
if you
this
wanna see the
far.
unedited version. We release on
Checks out.
Tuesdays on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, other places. But did you guys hear
Other
the
things.
massive news this week? Those two stories I have, they're huge. Black Panther Wakanda Forever has started production.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
Not never, but forever.
I'm excited. Chadwick Boseman's not going to be recast or digitally recreated, and his little sister in the movie Shuri is expected to play a larger role, which I think
Is she gonna play his role?
I could see her becoming a Black Panther. Like it's the power, they eat the fruit, right?
I think
Yeah.
it's kind of
Part of the-
whoever. I think
Part of the crew, part of the ship.
Exactly.
I think that's cool. I'm curious how they'll handle Black Panther dying like canonically in the movie, because like
Yeah.
it can't just be like, oh, he had cancer. Like I'm sure they're gonna give it like some sort of like,
They'll just
oh, he
write him
was
off.
fighting, yeah, they're just gonna be like, oh, he tripped and fell and a concussion. They went into the hospital and that was it. No,
He ate a poisonous
yeah,
mushroom.
I don't know. Yeah, exactly.
Ooh.
You know, if you were gonna make me pick someone to kind of take on the Black Panther mantle, I think Shuri made the most sense. Or Michael B. Jordan's character. People
Agree.
have
Oh, it
speculated as
sure
well.
he did.
All right, so next huge story. Disney released updated Legos of Boba Fett's ship Slave One, only they took the Slave One name off of it. It's now just Boba Fett's starship, and people are upset. I went digging for why the ship was called Slave One. There's not really a deep lore or history.
I'm sure it's just a random name that Lucas was just like, call it. He's a bounty hunter. He's got captures people. They're slaves, kind of slave something.
Yeah.
Number
But I
one.
think
Boom.
fans are just mad because of how Disney's handled
He's
the
number one.
franchise.
Number
Boom.
one. Slave number one.
Now, another possibility is like Legos for kids, and maybe they're just like, let's not sell kids' toys that say slave on it, and it's still going to be
That's fair.
canonically Slave
mean-
One. All right, what were your initial thoughts and reactions to Loki episode 4? I had a rip-roaring good time. Aaron, you look ready. Go ahead.
It was I'm always ready, Brian. It was definitely a good episode. I I appreciate that again, and we kind of talked about this, but like the last sort of 5 minutes gave us a deeper understanding of like, like it's kind of a show not tell us of stuff, like the fact that, and again, spoilers, whatever, you're listening to a podcast about us recapping an episode. But
nobody's listening, don't worry.
Them, yeah, like Mobius and Loki both kind of getting pruned, again, is like showing us to a certain degree that, hey, there's something more to this process than meets the eye, and obviously the post-credits scene, and all that stuff, like we got in a pretty quick succession, like some good, they've done a good job of that, of dropping something at the end of pretty much every episode that's like, hey, you really should check out the next episode to see where the fuck we're going with this. Sure. Like, the one, I think it was the second one that ends, was it the second episode maybe, that ends with Loki walking through the portal with Sylvie. And that's just like the episode just ends. It's him and when they're at the like Walmart. So that's like a nice like cliffhanger, and they've done a decent job of doing that throughout the like the planet, exploding at the end of the third one.
Yeah,
I forget how many episodes there have been.
Wes,
it's only 4.
What were your initial thoughts here?
I don't know. I was very
he was
like
whelmed.
drunk. I don't know. I was there's something going on,
Drunk
and I watched
fun?
it, and I was like, yeah, it didn't hit me that hard because I was like what's his face? Owen Wilson's like, oh, hey, I took your phone, and he gets like they prune him, and I was like, oh, sucks to be him. Like I figured that would probably draw a bigger response from people. I was like, oh, Owen Wilson's gone forever. When they pruned Loki, I was like, oh, all right, well, everybody's still alive because you're not gonna get rid of Loki.
Yeah, I think it kind of cheapens
episodes,
Mobius's pruning a little bit. I mean, we sat there for 15, 20 minutes.
I don't disagree with that, Brian. I definitely I think that it would have been more impactful if like Loki's pruning happened maybe at the beginning of like the next episode, say, or something. You're just like, oh shit, whatever. But like it's sort of solved later that having Mobius like be pruned and then have that be sort of like the ending bit would have given more weight to it. And maybe that wasn't the right like move from their perspective, like Disney as they're writing shit. But I agree. It was like, oh, okay. I guess it's not a big deal.
Marty.
I was like, being pruned doesn't seem that bad.
Yeah, so I think we mentioned it like last week that it was kind of a make or break episode. I thought they did a really good job. I thought this was definitely the right direction they needed to go in. I kind of agree with the Owen Wilson pruning. Like, it was just, he had that little like 2-second speech about a jet ski, and then all of a sudden just gone. And we're like, what? That's it? Like, is he done? Like, it was just kind of sudden how they did it.
Owen Wilson, no!
It hurt me.
Yeah. Wow.
I know. Steph was sitting next to me and she gasped. So it was definitely. I mean, it was surprising. Like you're just like, oh shit.
But at the same time, you're like, something's up here. Like they just can't get rid of him like that,
I'm like, Owen Wilson can't go down like this.
The only reason I'm just like not. I still hold it back a little bit because we've seen the 2 other shows and none of them entirely connect to the movies. I'd say like they connect to the movies, but not in a very impactful way. Honestly, the most impactful thing I think we've seen from a connection to the MCU would be, and it sounds dumb, but Captain Falcon becoming Captain America. That might be most impactful thing to the time. Like Scarlet Witch has had, like, obviously she's powerful as hell, but we all kind of knew that. There wasn't anything crazy coming out of that. Maybe that she's going to be in touch more with her witch powers. All right. That's not bad, but
witch powers?
She's stronger now.
I'm curious what they're going to do.
She's stronger now.
I'm curious with
Doctor Strange.
Yeah, so I'm just kind of curious where they're going to go with this. Like, everyone's like, oh, it's going to lead to the multiverse of madness. And it's like, do you really think they're going to bring Kang the Conqueror in a TV show? I don't know if that they're going to have that kind of a big time villain for just.
Oh, we'll get there, Marty.
Bring it.
Aaron, were you about to say something?
No, we can move on.
All right, let's get into the plot. Should we have a little jingle for the plot?
Plot time.
Perfect. I'm gonna snip that for next week, Wes.
Say,
I'm gonna play
what-
it, and you're gonna
yeah.
be so confused.
Plot time. Yeah,
I'll add
that's
like a
totally
little
gonna
air
fuck 'em
horn.
up.
I'm gonna freak
Like-
the fuck out.
And I'll
Yo,
do the little
DJ
spinny
Sprouts.
thing, but it's Wes, like what I did with Jar Jar. We open in Asgard. We see a young Sylvie playing with some toys, and young Ravonna Renslayer as a Minute Woman, pops open through a door and steals Sylvie away. She goes through the same check-in process that Loki does, and before the judge at the time can sentence her, Sylvie steals the temp pad from Ravonna Renslayer, and she starts her life on the run as a young child.
I thought the fact that she took the temp pad just kind of snatches it, and she's like, "All right, see ya." Like, I don't know.
2 seconds.
It was definitely.
2
I'm like,
seconds.
I'm like, that's a pretty fucking not convenient, but like, she zipped out of there pretty quick. I'm like, all right, like, guess she's
Yeah, she's
escaped.
like,
Like, not even like running out of the
time to
courtroom.
leave.
She's just like, I know how to make a portal here. Boom, let's go. Like,
I feel
Again,
like
you
you
know.
would lose your job if that happened. Like I
Oh,
want,
yeah.
I want the backstory on how
They're, like, promoted
Ravonna
to
kept her
judge.
job. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would have been like, dude, did you just let that little kid take your fucking time traveling device and then just leave in the middle of the courtroom?
that variant that we're specifically like trying to, have
Yeah,
her up and
the one that
fucking
kills a bunch of
kill
people
or whatever.
Yeah. Yikes! Yeah, you're fired, bro. Time to get pruned, bitch.
Fire.
Well, Loki and Sylvie are still on Lamentis. They the tension, you could cut it with a knife.
Yeah, they're just lamenting their time on Lamentis.
They
Ugh.
nearly, I'm so
That's not a
smitten
joke.
with myself when I come up with these episode titles. Like last week when I was like, "Oh, we lament the slow pacing of episode 3."
Oh yeah.
Yeah, good job.
You do
I
appreciate
totally
that.
watched it and totally know that you put a title together. Fantastic, bro. Thank you.
Anyway, so
You
their
make
love,
titles for these?
I do.
He just releases them no title.
It really hurts our SEO, search engine optimization, so nobody finds our episodes, but it makes me laugh. And what's the greatest
what it's
gift,
all
you
about.
guys? Laughter.
The greatest gift was money.
Money.
Breakfast.
Like alligator brought into the other universe. It's like, ha.
It's just, our only viewers are me in different dimensions.
Yeah.
That's my
That's how
dream.
Brian.
That was
That's
it.
how Brian's pumping up the views. It's like we got
That's
100
the greatest
views that
gift.
one episode. It's just 50 fucking Brian's, and he's got 2 accounts in each one.
Fucking,
He's like, I gotta bump these views
Lizard
up.
Brian just like in a swamp trying to get connection. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, Swamp Lizard
Holding up
Brian's
his
watching.
phone. They gotta just thumb up this video.
So their love sparks a massive Nexus event, and the TVA shows up, takes them in. Loki.
I also,
Yeah.
I gotta say, and I'm sorry to be Wes, but
Oh,
I'm
fuck
disappointed that I was hoping their engagement with the TVA would be that they stopped in some way, like we talked about last week, where they stopped the Nexus event, kind
None of us
of,
guessed
and
this.
like saved people to a certain degree. Well, I actually think our thing is way more awesome than they're like, oh, well, they kind of love each
Absolutely.
other, which is super weird. And two of the same person aren't supposed to love each other, and that's the reason the
I
TVA
think
found
it
them.
was more
Yeah,
like
yeah, they're
Loki's
like,
having feelings for someone else.
I think it was that,
whatever.
and not that it
That
was
was
two
lame.
of the same person.
Lame.
Yeah, I think it was more
Nah.
a Loki fell in love.
No, I don't care
Either
about
way,
that.
I
liked it
I
better.
definitely I don't
Loki,
love
like,
that.
Yeah, I
Rather-
don't think
They
less
just
lame.
send the moon, back out. Instead, it's like, oh, this guy's got a crush, so that's how we found him.
Luke
Or they just
Skywalker
found
flies
some
in
like
and
they
kills
found some
everyone.
way to get off. Yeah, he shoots the
Yeah.
meteor apart, the moon or whatever.
Yeah, they're
It's
like,
like, I'm gonna
yeah, I
take
detected
Sylvie
a
and
Loki.
train
Exactly. She's just like in a
Yeah,
little
like, we
cloak.
detected
He's like, all right, let's go. He picks her up and like takes her.
it like feeds her frogs and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go to a bar and they're like, here's some ceiling goop.
I think
That's a good
oatmeal.
callback.
I'm pretty sure it's
Thank you.
stealing oatmeal. That is.
You guys remember that when they go
callback.
to that fucking bar and they're like,
Yeah.
the kid will take one,
Yeah,
and he's
like,
like,
all
all
Like,
right.
there's
right.
some trash from our ceiling.
He just takes a hose from the ceiling and dumps some goop into a bucket.
You
They're
know
like,
what, guys?
thanks.
That is an incredibly missed opportunity for any restaurant business. That you just like have all of your soups just in big pods on your roof, and you
Yeah.
just like pour it straight out into people's bowls. Like
Yeah.
there's just hoses off the ceiling.
Your
I eat at
ceiling
that
is just like a
restaurant.
giant like soda dispenser where you press like a thing and just sprays into the bowls that you're, yeah.
Oh yeah, even instead of soda
Efficiency.
guns, soup guns.
Yeah, the chowder gun's
Oh.
clogged. They're like, oh, there's too many potatoes. Like,
Oh, the chowder's
God.
kicked.
That
I gotta go
restaurant would
replace it.
thrive. That restaurant would thrive. Jesus Christ, this really went off on a tangent. Yeah, what were we actually talking about?
Talking about the Lokis having like
The Lokis
feelings
are in
for each
love.
other and that causing the.
Oh yeah, no, my whole thing was to be like the TVA is just like, oh, we just found a Loki boner. That's a Nexus event. Let's show up there.
Yeah.
I think it
Horny
would way better if
Loki.
it was like,
Two
yeah,
Loki
like oh,
boners.
we got
Like this
we got a
line
couple
is
Loki
so
boners
erect.
floating around. Have you ever seen a boner that shaped? We gotta check it out.
Yeah.
I was like, why is that? Why,
I went
why
from
is that
6
the
to
reason?
12 real quick.
Yeah.
See, it's
they
a
should've
time
picked
joke,
everything.
Wes.
It would've been like,
Yeah.
no, yeah, I got you. I'm right there
The
with you.
time variance authority, Wes.
It's a double
funny.
entendre.
I'm not really liking them tonight though.
No, you're not.
I think I'm too sober to like any. Yeah,
Yeah, Wes is
Aaron's
like,
one I
this is
might
the
have
least
missed a
funny
little bit.
podcast I've ever done.
All right. So Mobius puts Loki in this endless loop where he's getting kicked in the balls by Sif from Thor Dark World. Then he reveals, after the torturing, Mobius comes in, interviews him. Loki reveals that all of the TVA are variants. Before Loki's tossed in, Mobius has a word with that Hunter B-15. And it's just like, that dumbass Loki said TVA's lying to us. Can you believe all that? And that like sparks something in Hunter B-15.
She's seen some shit.
She's seen some shit.
Yeah, she's definitely filled with vitamins.
The
So,
Gotta make sure you
the
take your B
bit of
complex.
the bit of Sif kicking Loki's
Thanks, guys.
ass like repeatedly, I appreciated that as like a form of torture. Because at
Yeah.
first I'm like, oh, that's kind of like, I was like him and a little like arrogant about it. Where I'm like, oh, that's not like that big a deal. And then I can imagine like over and over and over, like he tries to like rationalize with her and whatever, and it just like it doesn't matter because it's always going to end the same way, kind of.
Yeah, I love how it was different every time.
Yeah, like even if he convinced her like, a little bit or like quite a bit, there were certain times where like he got farther along.
He like goes
And
through
it
the
didn't
stages
matter.
of grief. He's like
Kind of, yeah.
denial, acceptance.
Yeah. Tabda.
That's right. So yeah, Hunter B-15 goes to confirm this with Sylvie. So they have a chat. Now, Mobius gives Renslayer the news on what caused the Nexus event, some Loki love. And he steals her temp pad because of his
He comes in and
suspicions.
he's just like,
It's like, you know what it was.
yeah.
Loki boners.
Did you see that timeline?
So he keeps
Frank,
asking
You
about...
notice that?
Go ahead, Marty.
I was gonna say when he's always in that room, he looks at the pen again. So when he picks up the pen, he looks at it. So there's something about that pen in that high
He just
school
keeps
that, like,
he
must
keeps
resonate
sitting there and he
with
just
him.
puts the pen in his mouth over and over and he just can't.
Maybe that's the high
Might
school
as
he
well.
went to.
It's just it was funny. I watched
that's
that the
the-
second time. Yeah, maybe he's a jet ski instructor at a local high
Oh no,
school.
that's the high school that he was taken from when he was picked up as a variant.
He was probably a teacher or something because it's just weird how I noticed it the second time I watched it where he goes to sign off on the deal, but like real quick he just kind of looks at the pen.
He strikes me as like he's like an AP like English teacher or some shit. You know what I mean? Just like not like high school probably.
Yeah.
level teacher or something like that, and he just has a
there
boner
was
for
some
jet
sort of
skis.
Easter egg with the high school's name that I saw, but I didn't put it in because it was so like, oh, in this comic book one time Mobius and like, so there's some sort of Easter egg
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
time, but I don't know how they're gonna
Okay.
actually tie it in. Yeah, so
Owen Wilson Academy is what it was called.
the Owen Wilson Academy.
Professor Owen Wilson, and he drives up in a wheelchair and he's bald.
He's like, I like mutants. I'm like, what is happening? What are we watching?
Oh man, that'd be a weird recast. Owen Wilson.
Yeah, Owen Wilson is Professor X. They do like a young mutants or some shit where all the like, it's like, you know, they're all young and they're like, Professor X has to be like 50 and it's fucking Owen Wilson. Like, we loved him so much in Loki, so we wanted to recast him. Great movie, and we just, yeah.
Keep the mutants safe. Oh, I'd watch that movie. I'd watch that movie all day.
So Mobius is suspicious of C20's death, and he watches a video on Ravonna Renslayer's tempad. I'm gonna do my vocal exercises.
Hey, that is a tongue twister.
Confirming that C20 was a variant before she was a Minuteman. And Mobius goes to break out Loki, and on his way out, he is pruned by Renslayer.
Their plan was not particularly impressive.
Nope.
He was just kind of like, let's go through the hallway. Like, the guy has worked there for an undetermined amount of time, but enough time that he is like a high-level, notable like person at that facility. Like, it's not like he's some grunt with a fucking pruning stick. Like, he's worked his way up. Yeah, he's Detective Jet Skis,
he was just about to retire next week.
Exactly. It was one more week to retirement. And I thought that was odd that he's just like, you know what the most effective way for us to escape is? Walk right through the front door.
He's like, they'll never expect this.
Yeah.
Like, in our timeline, there's like,
stars.
Find My iPhone. And like, Renslayer picks up her tempad and she's like, okay, well, this is Mobius's.
Yeah, like very clearly.
Right? Like she opens it up and it's just a picture of him.
Or
it's him on a jet ski. Yeah, it's him on a jet ski. Like, who's this?
Like, oh, this isn't mine. He's like, oh yeah, I must have grabbed it by mistake. Oh, this Loki guy. I just taking him out for some ice cream. Figured you should get some ice cream before we kill him. Right, guys?
Going to look for you.
It'd be even funnier if they like show her taking back her phone and she's like, how did you confuse it for mine? And it cuts to like her phone background and it's her on a jet ski. He's like, oh shit, I thought that was my background, but it's you on the jet ski.
That's really funny.
Oh, man. Classic mistake.
Yeah, I don't know how he thought that was gonna work. He swapped them. I was like, well, that's an odd choice. I'm like, he's gonna have 10 minutes. Like, he's gonna leave.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
gonna be like, let me check my phone. Like, if I had the same phone as one of you guys, and I was at one of your houses, and I just like swapped phones, and then just got in my car, you'd be immediately like, come out and be like, did you take my phone? I'd be like, oh, I must have not realized it.
Whoops.
Oops. You'd be like, obviously, dude. Like, you shouldn't have left anything. I would have been like, did you drop it in the couch? Did you check your couch?
Yeah.
Did you look through your couch?
Yeah, bad plan all around.
Not impressed by that plan.
So, Sylvie and Loki are going to be taken to be executed in front of the Timekeepers. They go up the golden elevators, and they go into this cool, misty, foggy room. See the 3 Timekeepers. Hunter B-15 shows up just before they're pruned to save them because of the talk she had with Sylvie. Tosses Sylvie her sword that she steals from Renslayer's office. They have the fight with the Minutemen and Renslayer.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, I thought the fight it was very like Star Wars-esque, actually, and like the choreography
like
and stuff.
Kylo
like it
and
instantly,
Rey.
It instantly reminded me of Star Wars. Especially because they're using like the little pruning sticks or whatever that like they're totally fighting with them like they're like bow staff style, like that kind of Star Wars shit.
Why aren't there more guards there? There's like 5 people. They're like, oh, well, sucks to be us.
There was not a lot of guards.
I would say maybe there's not a lot of guards because when
Generally.
Sylvie throws the sword at the middle timekeeper, its head falls off. It's just a robot.
Yeah, but nobody knows that.
Because, yeah, exactly. I don't think
they know that.
If you're a guard, I don't think the guards know that they're androids.
No.
Yeah,
I mean,
imagine like you work like
or whoever's controlling it.
If you're a guard and you've just been watching that
they-
place for like years, and you're like, wait a second, I've been guard.
Just been a fucking robot the whole time. Yeah.
Yo, imagine you're a guard there and you get like stabbed and you survive, but like you have to eat like through a feeding tube, and you're like, I was
Like,
fucking
ruins your
Died in
life.
front of a bullet.
yeah, like you eat, like your life is ruined
For the
but it's
timeline.
like, oh yeah, well yeah, the sacred timeline, and you get like shot, your arms fall off, you never can hug your family again, and it's
Or
like,
potatoes.
yeah, well they were robots
ceiling.
all along.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
gotta
drink
start
your ceiling oatmeal through a straw.
I'm just so happy
You drink
they
your
weren't
long
real.
puddle of fish. You can't even eat it because you can't eat real food. That's brutal. So like imagine that you do go through all that for a couple fucking robots. I'd be like, I'm livid. I'm livid.
Robots who can barely speak the language. They're like,
Oh yeah, we needed captions for that.
Subtitles all day, baby.
They had me like with the not that I thought that the those timekeepers were real at all, but they had me with like they're like kind of creepy or whatever until the guy who was like fucking the what the hell is his
mustache
name?
guy?
Jeffrey Rush in Pirates of the Caribbean. What the fuck is his character? Davy Jones. I couldn't think of it. Fuck.
No, just different guy.
Guy-
Davy Jones is the.
Oh no,
the
Jeffrey
lizard
Rush
face
is
guy.
the other guy. No, you're right.
Jeffrey Rush is
He's-
Captain Barbosa, bro.
Yeah, Barbosa,
Get out
he's
your
the
ass.
Curse of the Black Pearl. Yeah, I'm so far outside. But no, as soon as he started talking, I'm like, okay, they lost me with like the like veneer of like cool creepiness or whatever of like the timekeepers. Like it's all foggy and like spooky in there. And I'm like, oh, cool.
When
And then
they
as soon as he started talking,
when they
I'm like,
opened
oh.
the door. They opened the door, and I was like, fuck, maybe these dudes are real. And I was like, oh, the whole thing's gonna be a mirage. And then they had me, and then they lost me again. And I was like, oh, okay, it's not. And then she decapitates that guy, and I'm like, I bet you it's like a fucking pillow filled with pudding, and it was just a robot. And I was like, yeah,
There's some
I knew
Wizard
it.
of Oz shit.
I was on the
fucking-
Wizard of Oz train.
I
the whole way.
thought I was waiting for him to be like behind them, like just like a little scrawny man. And he's like,
Kang was
"Oh,
just
like,
gonna come out and be like, fuck you assholes, those are expensive.
I'll see you in Ant-Man and the Wasp, and he runs away.
Yeah. Then he falls into a portal. Just like,
his
sucked into a
diving
time
elbow.
portal. Yeah. Like fuck you guys.
Yeah, I was waiting for the little old man behind it. Hi, it's me, Master Time. I'm
the
just trying to protect the
timekeeper.
timeline. This guy. I have so many weird tabs open about shit that we've Googled that doesn't make any
That
sense.
you've Googled. Don't bring me into this.
One of them
Go fuck
asshole
yourself,
hair.
Yeah, are
Yeah,
you
one
Googling
of
tuna
those
can depth?
asshole hair, the movie. Nothing came up. So we're,
Oh,
we're in
okay.
the clear, boys.
So,
No
so you're
copyright.
saying you're
no copyright.
GoDaddying the website now?
I already did. We
Oh, you
own it.
did. Beautiful.
It's part of the Carcass Boys platform, assholehair.com.
Oh, good. Okay. It
You,
speaks to our demographic.
If you contribute to our Patreon at
Yes.
the $20 level, you could have some of our asshole hair.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I'll send you a bag of asshole hair.
It's none of ours though.
So they
It's autographed.
they
Yeah.
cut the head off the middle timekeeper. Sylvie and Loki are like, "Oh man, it's still a mystery." And then Loki's about to confess his love, but before he can do so, Renslayer prunes Loki.
She's like, time to go downtown,
I definitely
downtown,
didn't see
bitch.
that coming.
Yeah, we
I didn't
gasped.
either.
The timekeepers, I'm like, yep, like that's probably bullshit. And then, there were definitely a couple things where I'm like, this is gonna lean one way or another. But then pruning Loki, I was like, oh fuck, okay. cool. Like that's
It's like,
part
well,
of
the show's
in
over.
in my like ranting bullshit in the beginning of the episode that I'm like that, again, the showing not telling us of like there's even more depth here than you thought initially. Like there's some extra layers to this shit. Not even just like, oh, the timekeeper or timekeepers aren't who they seem to be, but also like this whole removing people from the timeline, and there's multiple timeline shit going on. Like again with the end credits scene and stuff as well. But
we pulled the curtain back before we hit the 2/3 point, so that's a little earlier than I thought we would, because Loki's set to have a season 2.
oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I would assume, but
episode ends.
Really?
Sylvie, yeah,
No, they
it's
were.
confirmed season 2. Sylvie has Renslayer, and she's like, "Oh, you're gonna tell me everything you know." We get some credits, and then we get our post-credit scene where we find out Loki's alive. He wakes up on this apocalypse planet or pocket dimension. I'll talk about that in our theories segment. And he's greeted by
Theory segment.
4 other Lokis who give him the Terminator
4,
line.
count them, 4
Marshmallows.
Lokis.
Come with us if you want to live. And then we get our other credits.
Which one do you think said it?
It was the old guy.
the Gator.
Okay, that's what I thought too.
Loki.
Oh, I've heard theories that
I thought
the
it
old
could've been
guy
the Gator.
voiced the Gator. I did not include that in our theory section because I don't think it
Yeah,
has any relevance. Relevance,
Yeah.
You revel in
I
I saw
your
that movie
relish.
I saw that movie. It's Leonardo DiCaprio gets attacked by a bear. It's good. Revelance.
Yeah, Relish. That's one of my favorite movies.
All right.
Fights off the bear using pickles.
I relish these moments, Wes.
Oh man, this moment sure is relish event.
So I got
do what our
4
show's about.
little Easter eggs for you. Again, none of them earth-shattering. Well, number 1A.
Not like that post-apocalyptic world in the end credits. Am I right, guys?
That's right.
Because it's a version of Earth. Keep going.
Number 1A. Old Loki is wearing the OG comic book Loki costume. 1B.
Did think that was funny. It looks like pajamas.
It really did, especially on an old man.
Yeah, I'm like that's just fucking.
It was form
It's like
What's
fitted
his
to
face
his
from-
figure.
pervert.
Yeah.
1B,
Christ.
there's Kid Loki, so that's another young Avenger we've added to the MCU. Alligator Loki may be a reference to Frog Thor, but there's no other Alligator Loki.
See that? I'm not.
Hey, no,
familiar
so
with
is
Frog
it
Thor.
an alligator or a crocodile? Or
It's
a
got the
Komodo
round
dragon?
nose, definitely a gator.
Yeah. Oh, look at you. I had no idea you
Well,
were a
that
big
definitely makes a
alligator
difference.
Yeah.
expert.
And then
Oh yeah,
the-
don't try to question Brian on anything.
ever. And then the
Yep.
Loki with the
I
hammer
learned that a long
may
time ago.
or may not be Mjolnir.
This hammer that might not be meteor. All right, so he's got the meteor hammer.
His name in the credits is Boastful Loki. No one's really sure who he is. All right, reference to there's a reference to Blade. So we're getting Blade in the MCU. Mobius says we brought in Kree, Titans, and vampires. Not a reference to Morbius, because Morbius is a bad guy owned by Sony. Oh boy, I have to say it again. So Loki cutting Sif's hair is a Norse mythology reference to the creation of Mjolnir. How did I do?
Flawless.
That's one of my.
No one say anything.
What, is that one of your? What's your favorite? What's your favorite hammer?
Thor's.
Thor's? That's a good one.
Mine's Hammerhead Shark.
So Renslayer's Hunter number was A23. She first appeared in Avengers comic number 23 with Kang the Conqueror. Ooh.
Oh, mama.
They in the sack.
That probably means nothing.
She is comic-wise, his girlfriend, his love interest. Anyway, theories, predictions. If you notice, We've only got a few theories this week. They answered a lot of questions. So, personally, I think Kang the Conqueror's still on the
They
table,
answered them all wrong.
but it may just be
The
a reference.
the episode started and it opens on the middle timekeeper that like has who looks similar to Kang, has like a a similar likeness, and I thought that was a little too like much of Marvel's on the nose shit. Like all of this is all like CGI, or all like special effects, so them starting a shot on a specific like part, I don't know, it was like things like that are a little too convenient. But then again, Marvel, I feel like, likes to dangle dangle like the apple or whatever, and then be like, actually, no, it's fucking, the Mandarin is fake.
No
It's Ben
apples for you.
Kingsley with a wig, like whatever. I don't know if anybody saw Iron Man 3, but
Yep.
that's the whole
It's my
thing. Is
favorite
it's the
Iron Man.
Mandarin, except it's not, and it's an
Yeah.
actor. I'm like, oh,
Big
Kingsley
Liverpool fan,
baby.
the Mandarin.
he is sexy beast.
So maybe it's another Loki behind all this. I threw this out last week. I think my case is only stronger this week.
I like that theory.
I don't hate that
I
theory
think that's
either.
more likely than Kang the Conqueror.
Oh, all right.
But see, my only thing for thinking that it's Kang is that it's the sacred timeline is the idea
It's so
of,
logical.
because
the
he's kind of this
time-traveling bad guy.
multiversal entity. Yeah, because he's from the future is his whole bit, and he goes back in time with like futuristic weapons, and that's how he kind of does like his conquering and multi-dimensional like
Future.
conquering as well. So I think like I don't know, that's a reason for me to think like, hey, he's this, wanting to go back in time, create this bullshit TVA excuse to control the timeline and make it play out in a specific way that benefits like him in the end, or his goals ultimately. Like, but then again, obviously, like you said, it could be like completely unrelated. I just see as that like as being a
It's
possible
absolutely
motivation.
right. Or like, because Kang the Conqueror, he's connected with the timelines. He's connected with Renslayer. I find it interesting that he hasn't been casted. He was casted for Ant-Man, but he hasn't been casted.
It's a
at
secret
all.
reveal, like later shit. It was like Kevin
Yeah,
Spacey
maybe
in
it's
Seven,
like
where they
right
didn't
at
even
the
like
end.
have his credits in, or they didn't talk about him being in the movie at all until the movie came out, and then he's like, "Yeah, I was the guy with no fingertips." Or whatever. He cuts them all off.
All right, everyone, gun to your head. Who's in
What's
charge
in
of
the
the TVA?
box?
Answer.
He's like, my fingertips.
Gun to my head, like I'd like to see it be Kang, just because I think it'd be cool for them to introduce him as like this, again, like connect Loki to the sort of greater like canonical Marvel like film timeline. But also, again, it would be cool if it was like a variant Loki or some like King Loki, like some super smart version of Loki or something that we see as like some like multi-dimensional badass. So I'd probably prefer the latter, but I don't know. I think it's closer to the former of it being connected again to the greater like Marvel timeline.
We're all leaning another
perfect
Loki.
I'm
timeline
actually
or whatever.
buying into. I'm buying into that more, Brian. Because think about how many times they're always talking about, oh, who's the superior Loki? What would the superior Loki do? They'd take over the TVA and make sure that no
That's
other
their
Lokis
plan,
would ever be
you know.
around.
And
Yeah.
so this
It
is
just
a bit.
seems almost logical.
This is a bit of a stretch, but you know the intro and even the title, how it's Loki and all these different letters, all these variants of Loki. Up until this past episode, we've only had 2. And I just feel like that is a hint in itself, all the ways they're spelling Loki, like it's a ransom note or something. Anyway, Wes, you agree
Smash.
Loki's most
I think
likely?
it's little old guy.
Little old guy.
Little old guy.
What about
And he
little
comes out,
alien
"Hey,
guy from Men
It's
in the...
me, the time guy.
It's Leslie Jordan. Is that what?
It's the
Little-
pug from Men in Black.
Yeah, little
Yeah.
alien guy inside the old guy from Men in Black 2.
Could be.
Oh, true. Yeah, that's true. That's a good one.
Could be. It could be.
He has the technology.
Who's to say?
Who is to
Who's
say?
to say, boys?
All
If
right,
it's Tommy Lee Jones.
here's a fun one that's
Roll
Not
credits.
the TVA is in the quantum realm. So you need quantum energy to time travel, according to Endgame. And Kang the Conqueror's the villain, and Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumanium. And there's this quantum city they reference in the
Wasps.
former Ant-Man and the Wasp that you see a little shot of that kind of looks like the Citadel that the TVA is in. What do you guys think? TVA,
You
Quantum
said
Realm?
there's a city.
There's a city in Ant-Man and the Wasp that
Yeah.
kind of looks like... Here, I'll just pull it up in our... I'll find a good one here.
Oh, there's Kang right there.
Proven.
So scary.
Here, I think this is the best one.
I know. Her theory was right.
No, dude,
Is this clear?
that's Paul Rudd, dude.
I want to open this image. and
Those
use
the
that.
colors are very like it's that sort of white gold.
The MCU is notorious
Even
for like
orangey
color
color.
coding
Gold team
powers, and quantum energy and the time powers are the same kind of orangey yellow. So yeah, there's this little city in the bubble.
Okay.
They both movies. So Ant-Man in Endgame says, "Oh, time moves differently in the quantum realm." Mobius in Loki says, "Oh, time moves differently here." It's like nearly verbatim the same thing they say.
Yeah.
So there's a theory.
Here, help me with this wine. Then Mobius steps through, and then when he goes back, his wife is dead, and then his son kills him. But he's
That's
like, "No,
right.
it's not me. It was the kid who helped
It
with
was
the
Goofy."
wine." You don't help people.
Who
So-
me? Oh, he wasn't old when I was here last.
Renslayer, maybe not a bad guy, but not completely good based on where Loki ended up. Like, do we think pruning sends people
Not
somewhere
nice.
else, or pruning kills? I guess is how you have to take this theory. So
Oh no, pruning kills you.
either, let me go back
That's-
to
that's
our
the
I don't think,
right
I
here.
don't think
So pruning
I think
kills
Mobius is
you,
dead.
but she deliberately sent Loki somewhere else, so she's not a bad guy, according to Wes.
No. I'm saying that they think that pruning kills you. Like I don't even.
Oh,
think that
they
she knows
believe
that
it
pruning
kills
doesn't kill
them,
people.
but it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's true.
I like that, which
Yeah.
supports my cosmic.
They've been
landfill.
brainwashed.
She's like, well, don't have to
Yeah.
worry about.
Don't have to
Yeah,
worry
you wake
about
up and you're just a pile of garbage.
what. So I.
Oh, you're just like, I don't have to worry about Owen Wilson no more.
I watched one video
just-
and they
he's
were
just
like,
gone.
"Look, it's Avengers Tower. It must be an apocalypse in New York." And then I watched a few other videos and it's like, "No, this is like a dump for the TVA where they send everything that's pruned." And there's a little trailer for episode 5 that supports it, where this like battleship type thing falls from the sky. So
The garbage truck.
yeah, so I think this is where all the pruned things end up on this garbage planet. A little dimension that they
You
can't
can
escape
prune
from.
equipment and stuff too. Like
Anything that's
you're
hit by
just
those
pissed off
time
at your
bombs.
laptop, you just prune it.
Yeah.
Stupid thing keeps freezing.
did you see the
Prune it.
theory that's like Battle World?
Yeah, I heard that this could
Oh.
lead to it being the Battle World. Like the Secret Wars thing, where all the different variants go and duke it out there.
I like that because I mean, Secret Wars is like on their fucking timeline for
Yeah.
Phase 5 or 4 or wherever, whichever phase we're on. Yeah, I think that's absolutely like a legitimate. And maybe it's not this place specifically, but I definitely could see that being like a possibility.
Cool. All right, I wrote in one little other one that's not on the notes while we were talking. What do you think?
Fucking going off script.
I know, sorry, boys.
Secret.
What
Oh,
do we
fuck.
Secret
think
Wars.
Sylvie's Nexus event was? Because Sylvie asks about it in the elevator to Renslayer, who kind of smirks and goes, "I don't remember." And I think we can all safely assume she does remember and was just taunting her.
It's her kissing Loki.
Do
Do you think it's some like weird timeline shit
like what was her events
where
that
she
made her
the
take
part
this
of the
job?
sacred timeline she was supposed to?
There are small hints. I don't think I buy them. That's just her being a female Loki was the Nexus event, but I don't think I buy that because why not just take her at birth? Or I think there's a few things wrong with the
I
theory.
agree.
But any ideas?
I think her playing with that little boat. She wasn't supposed to be playing with that little wooden
She
ship.
should have played with the
She was
wolf.
fucking around playing with the wrong toys. Those weren't her toys.
Zoom in on the wolf.
Should have been playing with something else.
Because
I
she's a wolf.
honestly, I'd throw him for a loss. I have no idea what could have caused it.
Yeah,
It's
I
like you
haven't
said,
heard
I thought
any
the same
theory.
thing too. Oh, it's because she's a woman, but yeah, you would have taken her from birth.
Yeah, I mean it's still it's not a 0% chance that it's that, but I think it's still unlikely. All right, how'd everyone feel? I really enjoyed this episode. I think we're gonna have a lot less theories going forward as they tie things up, but we do have a season 2, so we may be on a cliffhanger in 2 weeks. Who wants to go first? How'd you feel?
Thinking that's gonna be the case.
I really like the Tom Hiddleston Owen Wilson dynamic.
I'd love more of that.
They're so great together. Yeah, I agree. And the fact, hopefully, I mean, so far it seems like they'll both be alive. I think I've seen a trailer for like the second half of season 2 that I think I see Owen Wilson in a new scene. So probably is alive. But no, the two of them just have like this great banter, but they're themselves at the same time. Everything seems like pretty real. They do a good job.
Hell yeah.
He's definitely less of like a burden on the cast than I thought at first. Like I think we all would have agreed, like going into it, that we're like that's a weird casting or like miscast a little bit. But I definitely think he's like I'm not looking at him and being like, oh, it's Owen Wilson. Like
agree.
like I'm getting the Mobius. Like when him and Loki are really going at it and like arguing about stuff, I'm like I'm invested like in him being Mobius. Like he, I bought in more or less. So yeah, I definitely give them credit, and I think Hiddleston, like for him, it's cool because he's like a classically trained actor in real life. Like he is a super talented actor and was in a lot of like more art housey shit. Like when he was, kind of on the come up, like in his career. So it's cool to see him as Loki getting to like
He's so good when
bounce
he
around,
told
like have
Sylvie
different
died.
relationships with different characters and kind of stretch his like chops. Yeah, like. It's to kind of show those acting chops off, and it's cool because like him, like Robert Downey, or like there's a handful of actors in the MCU that are actually like really fucking good actors. Like the Chris Evans and like Chris Pratts of the world are like good at being their guys, but like there are a couple actors like a Downey or
We're bringing back
that
Natalie
definitely
Portman,
like
baby.
they're kind of a cut above, and Hiddleston as well. Yeah, Natalie Portman. Even like Hemsworth is like he's good as Thor, but it's not like you're like, oh my god, Thor is such like a deep and interesting character. Like he's Bradley Cooper is more
They can't all
quite
pull
interesting
off
as
Kirk
Rocket
Lazarus.
Raccoon. Yeah, you know what I mean though. Yeah,
Nobody can pull off Kirk Lazarus anymore.
yeah.
All right,
And
Wes,
maybe,
Stiller in
but-
the MCU.
You were the lowest on this episode. How are you
Yeah.
feeling going into final 2 eps?
We'll see what happens.
Okay.
I'm
It's still
waiting
annoying.
To see
It's
something
the
that,
final 2 eps.
I want something. I want something shocking, guys. Give me something fun. I'm like,
I think Loki getting
Loki,
pruned
and he
was
does some
nearly
stuff, and there's some
there. It
time things, and
wasn't like a oh my
Loki
god.
getting pruned was
moment,
good, but at that point, it's just so early. It's so early. Like if you start a movie and it's like I'm the main character got shot in the face, you're like, well, he probably
yeah, it's like
survived.
2/3 of the way
It's probably
through the
part of
movie.
backstory.
You're like, there's another third of this movie left.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, he's still gonna be alive, and then obviously he is. So it's interesting. I still want that Bern Arnold reveal. I want something, man. Give me something.
You want
me
what
something fun.
what the fuck was what's his face's name, Wanda's brother, that they ended up giving him
Ralph
at the end?
Boner.
They're like, oh, his name
Boner.
is Ralph Boner or whatever.
Yeah.
They're like, ha ha ha. I'm like, oh really?
Oh, Ralph Boner's
Lame.
running the TVA. There's my theory.
I hope that it's not like one of those things. Yeah. He's actually King the Conqueror.
Ralph the Conqueror.
Yes.
Anything else before we end this here? All right. Anyone have a sign off? I thought I wrote something. Oh, I did. I did write something down. If
I wonder why.
Nobody
I
has
forgot. I
anything.
forgot what it was.
I know. I can't imagine what would have prompted you to write that down.
I don't know if I wrote down what you think I wrote down, but I did write down something.
Well, we'll see.
Oh,
And as we always say on the Cannonballs podcast, Brian,
It's a full moon.
Fire.